Yo Disciple, what's up? My name is Samplifier and today I'm going to show you my new preset pack for Serum called Serum Supply Volume 1. Let's go. In this pack, I included both presets and samples. So I have like about 200 presets and therefore 200 samples on top of that. Divided in bass, cinematic, effects, percussions, and synths. And you can see the same here. If you want to buy the samples on top of that, you have the same, but with either loops or solo one-shots. I won't have time to play everything because obviously it's going to take too much time. So let's just start with the bass and play a couple of them and explain maybe a bit of detail on some of them. So I also divided each category with sort of general feel, like if it's a growl, if it's a laser, blah, blah, blah. I think you'll just quickly understand how it works. It's very simple. So if you start with growls, it's more like that. Right, I tried to include macros on each bass. So that means that for each bass, you can change the sound, shape the sound, whatever. You can really do your thing, and it's gonna create more variations for you. Then we have the lasers. Keep in mind, none of these were processed like after Serum. It's just straight up coming out of Serum. As you can see, there is nothing except just a clipper to not go too loud for my OBS recording, but that's it. Yeah, so the thing I love using that because it fills out the whole high frequencies and also some of the low mid sometimes if you are careful about that. Some extra one. Cool sound. It's not supposed to play it like that, but whatever. Very responsive too, like you could play it quickly, slowly, whatever. You can change whatever you want. Yeah, very different usage. Also, if you pay attention, if you're not sure what octave you should play your sound at, just watch out for C2, C3, etc. Like I wrote down the octave I prefer playing with the sound. For instance, here it's between C2 and C3, and as you can see, I'm playing D sharp 2. That means I'm in the range. One note, so for FL users, by default, D sharp 2 equals D sharp 0 for Ableton. So just remove 2 if you are an Ableton users. Yeah, so laser, I think you get the point. Very useful in dubstep tracks mainly. Plucks. Like for this kind of sound, you can just distort more and just go crazy on the sound if you want. You can really take the sound to a new level afterwards. It's up to you. I won't go further, but like let's try with OTT maybe. Yeah, it could be useful. Right, so let's move to, yeah, plucks, rhythm basses. Like rhythm basses obviously is more like metallic resonant basses. Like, oh, let's get rid of distortion. Right. They all use like flangers, resonance, or delay, or combs, or this kind of effects that really make the sound metallic. It's not from the waveform; it's really from the effects here. So yeah, if you want to try that too, feel free to take that technique from me. Okay, this is more like a weird one. but it could be great for intros or even drop as a big like pulse bass. Just a different one. I felt like including this one. Subs, you'll see sustains. So sustained basses is also long basses. C4 to C5. Let's go higher. Oh. Just different flavors with the macros. Just useful. Right? I like them when they slightly move, like when something is still not right. I don't know if you get it, but usually sustained basses are supposed to be super straightforward, like boom, and not move, if that makes sense. The texture should not move. But for mines, I like when there's always a bit of detune or something that makes it move. See, it's kind of moving because of the detune here, so that's why. Anyway. Yeah, also sustained basses, like feel free to try all of them. I figure like you can try these, like all of these basses. After that, we have the yoys to finish with. So these are more repetitive basses, like you could use them as a layer, as a main motif for the drop, whatever. Feel free to try different variations. And I also have some like, it's yours, but it could be rhythm as well, whatever. You know, it's fun. All right. After that, we could talk about percussion quickly. So I felt like including a whole folder of percussions for you guys because one, I never see them. And two, I think it's very useful if you want to make your kick from scratch. Instead of finding like hundreds of samples, just take one kick from Serum. Oops, not the right octave. Right? You can change it. You can change the curve. You see all the curves here. You can change the wavetables even if you want, even though I recommend using sine waves. Yeah, just great. What else? So yeah, 5 different kicks, also some claps. I believe some snares as well. I'll just go quickly over that. You see, so it's almost like it sounds like real. It doesn't like, obviously it sounds digital, but you know what I mean? It's, I think it's worth it if you just want to get one snare preset and make some your samples from it or some other variations. Right. Then quickly we have some like loops. It's using noise mostly. If you want a video on like detail and like, you know, more explanations on how I did that, why I did that, etc., because it's very specific, you can DM me on Facebook or Instagram, or spam Disciple, spam the comments, you know, whatever. But I'll be glad to go further on each of them, obviously, but I don't have time for that. Yeah, one for the fun. Like a drum loop. So yeah, it's just sub plus oscillators plus like some noise or notes in the background. I don't know if it's really in my usual sounds or whatever, but I was just having so much fun making them, so I wanted to include some of them. And yeah, some timpani as well. Well, sort of. If you can use the velocity for that. So depending on how hard you smash the key. Right, you can see that. Be careful with the velocity. Some keyboards don't have a good velocity implemented, so feel free to tweak that velocity curve if you want to tweak for yourself. Like for instance, on my small MIDI keyboard, it doesn't work well, so I have to... You can imagine a lot of, loops. All right. Some effects, risers, impacts, fallers, like even some storm, like Batman. Right, it could be useful, you know. Risers, Shepperton. I even tried a Shepperton. If you don't know what that is, quickly, it's just a riser that never stops rising. You have two waveforms, one starting at 0 in the pitch, one at -12. They both go +12 in pitch, but the volume fades on one when the other one rises in volume, you know? You know, you can hear the re-trigger, obviously, but I think if you sort of fade out, fade in, it works perfectly. Very intense. Right. Yeah, feel free to use it. Sometimes I even use it quieter during the whole intro, like to never stop rising, you know. Some cool one. Right. Okay, so I think for effects, just check out more. I have more, obviously, but anyway. Then some synths, so keys, arps, acid bass lines. You have to make the riff though. So I don't have 4 ends, but like... Right, you get the point. Right, it's sort of like an effects ARP. I don't know, I think it's cool. Some keys, more standard. Right, reminds me of some old pianos, slightly detuned. I like it. right? Some keys, whatever. I mean, it's cool, it's very useful, but it's maybe less impressive than basses, but I think it's as useful as basses, if not more. Yeah, and finally, we can talk about the cinematic folder. So I think this one is one of my favorite because I also love doing like orchestral intros, cinematic trailers, etc. And I wanted to include both, like dubstep plus cinematic sides of my my sounds. And so you get some drums, some drones, some flute, whatever, piano plucks, strings even. So I'm going to show you some of my favorites here. This one is very special. As you can see, it's just using the noise and a sub. And that textures, like the note itself of the noise, is created using the comb. So the comb is so resonant that if you tune it right, you can get a good, it sounds like a note, right? But without it. So that's a trick, that's a secret right there. And as you can see, I said, try lowest octave possible. That's right, I'm playing C sharp 0. D sharp 0, which is D sharp minus 2 in Ableton. I think you can go lower than 0 in Ableton. Oops, a bit higher. I'm like... Yeah, some very weird spooky sound. Again, it sounds very organic because, at least to me, because it's using a noise sample running through a comb filter instead of just wavetables. And that makes it so much more interesting sonically than just using wavetables, because you get the comb filter imperfections and the noise, like organic textures together, running through all my effects here to create like, yeah, this spooky sound, really. Anyway, moving forward, so definitely check out all the Brahms here if you want to make like big cinematic intros, or even not, like just as a one shot. I have some cool drones as well to show you guys. Like, so yeah, it's inspired from, I think, Hans Zimmer or Batman. Yeah, very... almost like... it's almost like having a tinnitus, but I love it. Some drones, more drones. Right, so very, very interesting tones, especially because here, I don't know if you can see, but the wavetable moves, like the phase of the wavetable kind of changes. It moves to the left and then to the right, which means the pitch slightly changes within the wavetable. So it's like having a detuned printed on the wavetable already from this one. And that's why it sounds strange, really. So, and also it's because my chaos 1 and 2 are linked to a bunch of parameters to create a randomized sound. Right. Some flutes. Sultan. Cool. Flute. So it's using real flute samples, very short samples that I play back and forth to mimic a flute sound. Piano, sort of. Can go low. And distorted though. Some plugs, I love plugs like that. Right, it's inspired from Tenet. In Tenet there is this like sort of looped pluck, very detuney, very intense. I don't know, I just love it, and it fits dubstep really well, in my opinion. Oops. Same, this one. Right, different textures, I love this sound. And then to finish, we got some strings. So these are very intense CPU-wise, so hopefully I can play without problem. Right, so my idea was to use wavetables this time, but randomize a bunch of parameters at once to mimic imperfect playing of a string. So, slightly change the pitch, the volume, the phase, sometimes, not here, but sometimes I change the phase, the FM, the filters, blah, 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 to recreate what I heard, Feel free to disable the retrigger so that it loops seamlessly. And if you want more of that random sound, you can increase the tremolo and evolution. Right, so great starting point, I think, to create emotional strings, I guess. Right, let's try extra, as it said in the description. Ooh. Playing some minor chords. Let's get rid of all of the macros. Try bigger voicings. Instead of playing like a normal triad, like minor, major, whatever, you can extend the voicing by changing the octave of the third. So for C major, or for G minor, add like a ninth or whatever. Yeah, I love this kind of sound. What else? So yeah, some of the strings, I think I've talked about most of it. Hopefully you guys like it. There is even more samples I recorded from it. I'm not going to play everything to leave a bit of surprise. But yeah, I'm really proud of the pack. And I've been using it this year a lot of my release and for my next EP, which I'm working on as well. If you like this video, if you like the pack, leave a like, follow Disciple, follow me on social, Samplifier everywhere, and thank you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.